Friends, welcome back to the channel. UFC 310 is right around the corner, and I wanted to take a moment to dive into the main event of that UFC 310 card. We have Alexandre Pantoja defending his Flyweight Championship against, believe it or not, the debuting Kai Adakura, who was the champion over in a promotion called Ryzen prior to coming to the UFC. He's making his debut in a title fight, which is kind of unheard of in this day and age, but the guy's resume kind of speaks for itself. He's beaten some very good competition in the past, and most of which has, been in Ryzen, some of which in, other promotions in the area, but now he's making the jump to UFC. How will Kai Adakura do at the UFC level? That's what we're going to try to figure out based on what gets us here, based on the skills that we've found from these fighters throughout their careers to this point. When we look at these guys, Alexandre Pantoja is the reigning champion. He's pretty much beaten everybody in the division that is looking to be in the title picture at this point. Anybody he has not faced yet is either just too far down the rankings, or they just don't exist. So there's that. Dude's 5-0 in his last 5. He's beaten the likes of Brandon Moreno 3 times, Royval twice. The guy has pretty much beaten everybody. So now they got to bring in new talent. They got to bring in somebody to face the reigning champion in Alexandre Pantoja, and that's Kai Adakura. 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Like I said, he was the champion in Ryzen. The guy's a very exciting fighter. Let's break down his skills. He's a very solid striker. In fact, his striking is his best part of his game. He's got very good output and puts combinations together extremely well. In the promotion of Ryzen, a little bit of rules, difference. There's a ring rather than a cage. Kicks to the head of a down opponent are totally allowed. So if you look at his highlights, you're going to see a lot of like soccer kicks and knees to the head of a down opponent. You can't quite do all that here, but he still does have very good knees in the striking department. His step-in knee, his flying knee, those are great. He's just going to have to make sure he doesn't do that if Pantoja's got a knee down or something like that. He feints really well, does Asakura. He uses that to close distance and set up his strike. So he'll be feinting his shots, and then all of a sudden, boom, dart in with a big right hand or big left hand, and get that combination going, right? Kicks to all levels. That's the legs, the body, the head. What he does really well, though, is put those kicks together with his punches into a combination. He's got a lot of power for a guy at this size, and he's extremely durable and recovers very quickly. Yes, we've seen him knocked out before, but in general, the guy can take a punch. He can keep on coming forward, and when he does get dropped, wobbled, or knocked down, the guy is able to recover extremely quick. So all in all, his striking, I would say, is probably going to be a little maybe step ahead of Alexandre Pantoja, but to be determined. Grappling, he's solid there as well. This might be an area that he isn't as tested against guys at the UFC level in, but he definitely is a good grappler nonetheless. He's got good throws, kind of like judo style throws. He's got good takedown entries. When he shoots a traditional takedown, he gets low, shoots that takedown, towards the lower part of the legs rather than just kind of, the bend at the waist type of reach for the legs thing. So that you do like to see. He isn't the most successful with his open mat takedowns. He's better with the clinch type throws and trips and things like that, but he can shoot a takedown when need be. He's got very good scrambles, and he can take the back in those scrambles pretty well. His ground and pound is absolutely brutal, and that is his best part of his ground game. Is if he gets on top of you, the ground and pound is absolutely relentless. Does a great job landing shots, putting the volume out there, and continuing it until he gets the stoppage. He does attack submissions kind of as a defense oftentimes, which I do like for him because he'll use that to kind of get himself to create a scramble. When guys take him down, he'll maybe go for a front choke, or he'll go for like a kimura or something. Just get a hold of a limb or a neck and try to go for a submission in order to just kind of give him enough space to create that scramble. He doesn't necessarily sell out for the submission. Yes, he can do it, but he doesn't often do that because he's simply trying to give himself enough space. And he'll attack these enough so that you have to react to it. Does have absolute just top tier killer instinct. You see this guy crack somebody and drop him, he's right on them. He does not try to do any flashy walk-off knockouts. He doesn't try to do anything that's going to, cost him the fact that he could win this fight if he just pounces on them. And he does that extremely well. I love to see it. That's something that I think is going to be a big factor for him in the UFC. Win or lose in this title fight, the guy has a lot of serious fight of the night potential throughout his career in the UFC for as long as he's here, especially with a killer instinct like that. Now we look at our champion. Our champion is Alexandre Pantoja, as you may know. He's a solid striker with very good forward pressure. His calf kicks are solid. He works the body really well with either punches or kicks, which is something that you like to see. He can mix it up with the different options going to the body. He's got good straight shots where he'll, get long and straight, and then he'll use that to go into a takedown oftentimes or set up a kick. And his striking speed is deceptive. He's very quick in the strikes, even if he's not striking as much as he used to so much these days. He used to, strike a little bit, be willing to strike a little bit more. He's been resorting to grappling more, but he does still have very fast strikes. He's good on the feet. His grappling, this is where he's going to have the advantage in this matchup because he is an excellent grappler. This guy is relentless. And not only is he relentless, but the way he goes for his takedowns, if he fails, he fights through whatever he has to do to get you to the mat. It's a very strange thing because you're like, well, he's not really chain wrestling, but if he gets a hold of you, he's just staying on you until he can get that takedown to the mat. Sometimes he'll chain wrestle. I don't mean to say that he doesn't do that. What I mean to say, though, is that a lot of times if he just gets a hold of you, he's going to continue to fight for that takedown until you hit the mat, regardless of what he has to do. He's very good transitions. Once he takes your back, you're in some serious trouble. He's got excellent control, and he's a very good rear naked choke specialist. If he gets your back, your neck is in some serious trouble. Good ground and pound as well. He can also scramble with the best of them, so the scrambles between these two should be very fun to watch. But the thing that's really important is he can just fight through fatigue. Does not matter how tired Pantoja gets. He can look completely exhausted, completely wiped out. The man is just going to keep on going through whatever he's got to do. This dude is the definition of a working man's fighter. The guy is just going to keep being that workhorse in the fight, and that's how he's winning a lot of fights, is outworking opponents. This is going to be a really good fight. Honestly, I think the striking goes to Asakura, but by a little, and I think the grappling goes to Pantoja, probably at a decent clip, just simply for the fact that Pantoja's grappling is it's elite. He's very, very skilled on the mat and getting the fight there. Like I said, he will stop at nothing to get that fight to the mat. This is going to be a good fight. It's going to be a fun fight. And honestly, I think that this is a main event worthy fight. I understand we had a different main event at one point. It has fallen out. Now this is the main event. I think this is a very, very good fight. And for me, the pick comes down to a couple of things. One, who do I think is going to be winning the minutes? Two, who do I think has the most finish upside? And three, how do I think that the UFC debut is going to affect Kai Adakura? Honestly, three, I don't think it will. I think he's going to be just fine with the. I don't think the moment's going to be too big. I mean, Kai Adakura is a guy that's been selling out stadiums for Ryzen, things like that. So I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him. The other two things, I think Pantoja is going to win more minutes, and I do think he's going to have a little bit more of an advantage in an area where this skill gap is bigger, if that makes sense. So we're going to go Alexandre Pantoja and still to retain his title. But I do think it's going to be a fun fight for as long as it lasts. I don't think it's just going to be one guy getting run over. And please, if you enjoyed this video, maybe learned a little something, had a good time, took your mind off of something that sucks, hit that like button for me. I do appreciate it very much. And let me know down in the comments who it is that you think is going to win and why. I do appreciate your feedback, and I will see you guys in the full card breakdown coming out very soon.